continue with our examples now. Now these ones are a little bit harder because the units are different. So remember I said that with ratios, the units must be the same. So we have to do some work here. Alright, now remember that 2 means that we have this colon. It's our symbol we have in the middle of our ratio. So we're going to write that as 50 centimetres, then our colon, metres. Now the next thing you do is make sure the units are the same. So I'm going to keep these centimetres over here, and I'm going to change this into centimetres, so they're both in the same units. So if I go to centimetres, I am going to a smaller unit. So we are multiplying, and remember centi is 100, so we're multiplying by 100. 2 times 100 is 200 centimetres. You can use your calculator if you like. Now once the units are the same, we cross them off. Right? You can't cross them off if they're different. You've got to make sure they're the same units, and then you can cross them off. So now we have 50 to 200. Because when we actually give a ratio simplified, it doesn't have any units in it. It's just 2 numbers or 3 numbers or whatever. So we're up to here now, and you know how to use your fraction key on your calculator to simplify this. So press your fraction key, put in 50 over 200 equals, and if you do that, you'll get an answer of 1/4. But we don't write it as 1/4 because it's not a fraction, it's a ratio. So we're writing it as 1 to 4. Okay, so use your calculator for that last step. Alright, let's have a look at the next one. Now, again, they are different units. So, if we're going to use different units here, I might go straight to this step where we've got the colon. Oh no, we'll just put it down like that first. H is our abbreviation for hours, so if you want to write an H, you can. Alright, now we're going to keep the 30 minutes, and we're going to convert our minutes into hours, our hours into minutes, so it's the same as the other one. So to convert to a smaller unit like minutes, we are going to be timesing, and because there's 60 minutes in an hour, we're timesing by 60. So 2 times 60 is 120. Now you can cross off those units because they're the same, and we're left with 30 to 120. Now that's when you get your calculator out, and you just put in your calculator 30 over 120 equals. Now it will give you 1 over 4. We're going to write it as 1 to 4. Okay, let's look at the next question. We've got 2 days to 8 hours. So 2 days to 8 hours. All right, we're going to keep the 8 hours, and we're going to convert our days into hours. So we're going to a smaller unit. So we're timesing, and there's 24 hours in a day. So 2 times 24 gives you 48. Then you can cross off your units because they're the same now, and you're left with 48 to 8. So I want you to go to your calculator and press that in your fraction key and press equals and see what you get. What do you get? I think you only get an answer of 6, don't you? So on the calculator, when you press it in, it looks like this, and you'll get just a 6. So what do you do with that again? You write that 6 down straight away. But what goes next to it? It's always a 1. So if you don't have a second number off your answer, it's always going to be a 1. Alright, let's look at the next one. Now they both have dollar signs, so they already are in the same units. So we can just cross those units off straight away here because they're already the same. So we're looking at that. So I know we haven't done a decimal yet, but it still can go in your fraction key. It still gives you a nice simple answer. So let's see what happens. So we're going to do a fraction with these numbers in it. So we press our fraction key. We're going to put 2.70 on the top. You can put decimals on your calculator in the fraction key. Then we go down arrow, and on the bottom we're going to put 12. And then we press equals. Whoa, that's not what we want, is it? All right, so we don't want that. So I'll show you what happens. Just keep that on your calculator. So this is what we just did. On our calculator, We just did 2.70 over 12. And what did it give us again? Let's have a look. 0.225. Don't touch your calculator, just leave it there. All right, now how are we going to get that to be a fraction? Because I told you it was going to work, didn't I? But it's not. All right, so that's when we play with our SD key because we're not happy with the answer. So let's press SD and look what it gives you. 9 over 40. Right, so pressing SD will get you to 9 over 40. So it's just pressing this key. That changes the form of the answer. So it changed it from a decimal to a fraction for us. So we go, yes, we do want that. So our answer is 9.40. Okay, so it'll work. The fraction key works for anything as long as you've only got two numbers. Okay, so let's have a look at a word problem now. You really have to read these carefully. So this one says, on a farm, there are 200 orange and mandarin trees in total, right? So in total, that's how many trees are on the farm. There are 120 orange trees. What's the ratio of? Now this is the important part that you've got to do. We have to underline the two things that they want, right? They want a ratio. It has to be orange to mandarin. Well, we know how many orange trees there are. There's 120. I'm going to write it right underneath the word orange there. Dot, dot. Now, how many mandarin trees are there? There's 200 trees altogether. 120 of them are orange trees, and all the others are mandarin. So over here on the side, to work out your mandarin trees, you would just do 200 trees in total, take away the orange trees, and that will give you 80 mandarin trees. So now we can go, yeah, I know how many mandarin trees. It's 80. So now go to your fraction key, put in 120 over 80, and if you do that, it will end up giving you 3 over 2, and that's great. Then we're going to write that as 3 to 2. Okay, what number do you think we would have divided by if we didn't do it that way on the calculator? What number goes into 120 and 80? I think it's 40, isn't it? So divided by 40, divided by 40 gives you that same answer. Okay, so let's look at the next one. We have a class of 28 students. 16 of them are girls. Find in simplest form. Now, we're finding a ratio. Now, if they say they want it in simplest form, then you must make sure it is. So we want girls to boys. Well, we know how many girls there are. There's 16. Dot, dot. How many boys? Well, there's 28 people altogether, and 16 of them are girls. So to find the boys, let's go to the side. We would do 28 take away 12. Take away 16. Sorry, I'm trying to work it out in my head as I'm going, aren't I? Take away the 16 girls, and you'll end up with 12 boys. So then we can put it in over here. Put that in your fraction key on your calculator, and you're going to end up with 4 over 3, which we write as a ratio 4 to 3. Okay, the next one says boys to girls. Now, we're not going to make our life difficult. Let's think about it. If we did girls to boys and got 4 to 3, what do you think boys to girls would be? In the reverse order, it's going to be 3 to 4, isn't it? So you don't need to go through all that work again, just reverse your answer from before. All right, now the next one, girls to students. All right, girls, we know there's 16. Students, they were told you there was a class of 28 students. So you're going to put that in your fraction key on your calculator. 16 to 28, 16 over 28 equals, and what does it give you? 4/7, which we write as 4 to 7. All right, let's look at the next one. Zoe buys goods for $320 and sells them for $380. Find in simplest form the ratio of, and then it's got a few things up here we're looking at. Now, you do have to understand a little bit of terminology for this question. So if I buy something for $320, that is my cost price, right? That's what I'm buying it for. That's what it cost me, $320. Then I sell it for $380. $380 is my selling price. Okay, so when they talk about cost price and selling price, the cost price is what you buy it for at the beginning. The selling price is what you sell it for later. So on the first one here, the cost price would be $320. And it's a ratio, so let's put the 2 dots for the colon in. And the selling price, they told you, was $380. Now you can cross out the dollar signs because they are the same units and put that in your calculator, 320 over 380. I'm not going to risk this one, I'm just going to try this on the calculator. So let's press the fraction key, 320, down arrow, 380, and then we press equals 16 over 19, which we're going to write as 16 to 19. And that's your answer. All right, now this next one. What is profit? Profit is how much money you make. So, did this person make any money? They bought something for $320 and they later sold it for $380. I think they did make some money, didn't they? So let's see if we can work out what their profit is over on the side. Okay, so, to find their profit. How much money did this person make? Well, she sold it for $380, but it cost her $320 to buy it. So the difference or the subtraction of those numbers gives you how much she made, which is $60. Okay, so let's do our numbers now. We have the first thing is profit. And the profit we know now is $60. Then we do dot, dot. The second thing they're talking about is the selling price. And the selling price is $380. So now we're just simplifying that ratio. So let's get rid of the dollar signs because the units are the same. And you're going to put 60 over 380 in your fraction key and press equals. I'm going to try and work this one out in my head. Hope I don't get it wrong. You should end up with 3 to 19. Okay, some of you might go, I think I could have got that 3 to 19 from fiddling around with that ratio answer up there. If you worked it out a different way and still can get 3 to 19 as the answer, fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at number 6. This time we're finding ratios. Now it hasn't asked for simplest form here, but we're going to do simplest form just for practice. Now, a lot of people when they see this question in an exam don't understand what they're talking about. So I'm going to explain it to you because even in year 10, you're still going to have to understand this concept, so make sure you're listening. All right, now AB, all that means is the distance from A to B. So here's A and here's B. What's the distance from here to here? How many jumps do we go? 1, 2, 3. So that is a distance of 3. Now let's look at BC. It's the distance from B to C. 1, 2, 3. Now you can put that in your calculator fraction key and press equals and see if you can get me a simplified ratio. Have a go. Right. How many people got 1? That's what the calculator says, but what do we do when we get an answer of 1 for a ratio question? You write it first, right? So if you put in your calculator that and it gives you 1, that's what you write first. What are we going to put in there then? It's always a 1. Okay, so the answer is 1 to 1 in simplest form. All right, let's look at the next one. We've got AC, distance from A all the way over to C. Let's jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a 6, colon, AB, we did this one before, that's 3. Now you're going to get your fraction key, press in 6 over 3 equals, and the answer is 2, right? Write it first. Okay, what are you going to write over there? Always what? Always a 1. Okay, let's have a look over here at the other ones. So we're still looking at this question. And we've got BC this time. From B to C, how far? 1, 2, 3. Let's write it down. AC, the distance from A to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We did that one before. All right, put that in your fraction key. And if you put that in your fraction key, you're going to get 1 over 2. So we're going to write 1 to 2. Okay, we're doing one more question, one more word problem. A vending machine is filled with bottles and cans. The ratio of the number of bottles to the total number of contents is 3 to 8. So this first number is bottles, and the second number is the total of what's there. So I always like, if you're getting confused, to just write the first letter of the important thing, like B for bottles. I don't like the word contents because that actually is going to be a C, and that's going to be the same as cans, so I don't want that. So I'm changing this to total, and I'm calling it a T. Okay? So bottles to the total things in the vending machine is 3 to 8. Right, look at this question. Our answer has to be a fraction. Now, it says what fraction of the contents are cans? Now, I'm going to help you decipher how to break this up. So, watching. Right. Of the contents means out of the contents. So, we're going to write a fraction down. Right? Because we want a fraction. Out of the contents. Now, I call the contents total. So, out of the total, I'll write contents next to it so you can see I'm using that word. Now, the other important word was cans. Where's that going to go? We'll have to go on the top. All right, so let's see if we can get our numbers. The total contents is 8. Our cans, all right. So, if there's 3 bottles, how many cans? Have a think over here. To get cans, what are we going to do? We're going to get 8, which is the total. Take away the bottles, and you've got 5 for cans. All right, so we're going to put that number now in here. And that's our answer, 5 over 8. So that would be badly done in a test, that question, because people are still stuck on the ratios and they'd write ratios down. If they want a fraction, first thing is draw a fraction bar and start filling in with words what they're asking for, and then put your numbers in. All right, now the last question, all still to do with that one, is, I'll just move it over a little bit so you can see it a bit better. All right. Okay, so the next question is, what is the ratio of the number of cans to the number of bottles? So they're jumping around a bit here. They want ratio of cans to bottles. So we are giving a ratio this time. So let's put a ratio dots down, the colon. We want cans first, bottles second. I'm going to write some words here. Cans, bottles. All right, let's have a look through what we've done so far. We worked out cans down here, it's 5. Bottles was in the question, it's 3. And that's all you do. So a lot of it is just words, putting the numbers in the right spot, and if it's a ratio, give a ratio. If it's a fraction, give a fraction. All right, so good luck with your homework. Lots of practice.